Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakka Jacob. The Hindu Mahasabha and other right-wing organizations are going all out in Karnataka for this Ganesh Utsava to celebrate Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. They are pushing for Savarkar images in all Ganesh pandals across the state. In fact, former Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa led the way today, even flagging off a Savarkar Yatra from Mysuru. On the other side of the political spectrum, Siddaramaiah, the former Chief Minister, has been forced to cancel his proposed protest rally in Madikeri. He was shown black flags last week by BJP supporters there. Is Karnataka 2023 the election that is going to decide the fate of the state for the next 5 years? Is it going to be decided by the fight over the legacy of Savarkar?
Former Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa kicked off the Savarkar Rath Yatra in Mysuru and hailed V.D. Savarkar as the nation's pride.
ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂಥ, ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಅವರ ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆಗಳನ್ನ ಜನರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸುವಂಥ, ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸಿ ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇದು.
Yediyurappa is one of the tallest leaders from Karnataka. And the Yatra and his praise comes at a time when the BJP and the Congress are at loggerheads over Savarkar. It all started when a banner featuring Savarkar was put up as part of the Independence Day celebrations in Shivamogga. A group of Muslim youth objected, removed the banner and tried to install a Tipu Sultan banner at the same spot. This eventually resulted in a clash between both groups and police ended up lathi-charging the mob to try and control the situation. After the incident, Savarkar posters and banners have been popping up in different parts of Karnataka. Leader of opposition Siddaramaiah faced flack for questioning their emergence.
Savarkar photo ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಇರೋದಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಮ್ಮದು ತಕರಾರಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಏರಿಯಾಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಆಯಿತು, ಅವ್ರು ಹಾಕೋದು. ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತಾರೆ.
For 2 straight days, protesters surrounded his car, threw eggs, showed black flags and waved pictures of V.D. Savarkar. Vinayak Damodar Savarkar has been one of the most debated figures in Indian history. And now he's front and center in Karnataka's politics in the months before assembly elections in the state.
Veera Savarkar issue, unnecessarily these BJP friends, to spoil the atmosphere of the state, they have encouraging this subject. For that actually these Congress friends, they are putting petrol to fight it.
So is it rightful praise that is being heaped on him by the BJP? Or is it simply polarization politics?
All right, on the big debate this evening here on Viewpoint, Mohan Vishwa is spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, Lavanya Ballal, spokesperson of the Congress Party, Arun Anand is a consulting editor with First Post, R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist, and T.R. Prasad Gowda, senior leader of the JDS, will also be joining us. Mohan Vishwa, let me start with you. We've seen a series of Savarkar-related incidents in Karnataka in the last week or so, from what happened in Shimoga, what happened in Mangaluru, and now no less than B.S. Yediyurappa flagging off a Savarkar Yatra. The question, though, is, are you doing this to polarize the electorate? Is this the most important issue going into the 2023 election? And the accusation, you heard from Kumaraswamy also just a moment ago saying that the BJP is keeping this issue alive to spoil the atmosphere in the state ahead of elections. That's what he said.
See, Zakka, who started all these things? It's none other than, again, the Congress or Siddaramaiah. Okay, so you can see the reaction of D.K. Shivakumar also, or some other senior leaders also, who are not reacting as much as Mr. Siddaramaiah. Even Congress don't want this issue. Mr. Siddaramaiah, who always wants to be in the news, and in the name of secularism, this is what he has been doing when he was in power between 2013 to 2018 also. Same thing he continued now. See, we take from where it started from Shimoga. When he went to Shimoga, how can he say that Savarkar posters cannot be put in any Muslim area? So at the same time, he calls himself as a secular leader. If he's a secular leader, he shouldn't have made that kind of comment. So when he made that comment, then later on, the right-wing activists and all, they started protesting it. Then it would have been stopped there itself. Post that, what did he do? he wanted to plan to go to, Madikeri, where the Madikeri people, poor people, they hate Tippu Sultan to the core. And Mr. Siddaramaiah is the one who started Tippu Jayanti when he was a chief minister. There was no such concept before Siddaramaiah becoming a chief minister. So even after knowing the fact that, the Madikeri people hate Tippu because of his cowardness, because of his mass murder of Madikeri people, Siddaramaiah went ahead there. There he faced some sort of retaliation, which is wrong. Nobody for that matter shouldn't have thrown any egg or something, whatever, when he was traveling in the car.
Sure.
But at the same time, you should understand that he should respect the emotion of those Madikeri people who don't like Tippu Sultan.
Okay, let me ask Lavanya Ballal. We know that this is what has happened over the last 1 week, but Mr. Mohan Vishwa is right. If Siddaramaiah did not make that comment about why should Savarkar posters be put up in Muslim areas, first of all, we should not be deciding, whose posters should be put up where, depending on, what the majority population in a locality is. And secondly, after having said what he said about Tippu Sultan, to go to Madikeri and he faced that black flag protest and egg protest and so on, no one is condoning the violence. But the fact is that the people of Coorg, the Kodavas, have had a long-standing problem with Tippu Sultan and the violent history that Tippu Sultan inflicted on the people there. So if Siddaramaiah, brought this upon himself, why are you then blaming the BJP? Lavanya.
The question was for me, Zakka.
Yes.
Good evening. The question right now for me is, I'm a little mystified. What is the point of the entire Savarkar Yatra that they're doing? Because in Karnataka, we have multiple freedom fighters, right from, Abbaka Devi or maybe Sangolli Rayana, Kitturu Rani Chennamma, maybe recently, like we had Kamala Devi Chattopadhyaya, we had Karnat Sadashivra, we have multiple other people who are part of, the freedom movement from Karnataka. Alur Venkat Rao is a guy who fought for the unification of Karnataka state. It would have made a lot of sense for any party which wants to see a united India, a united state, to have yatra about such people like Alur Venkat Rao, who's actually worked for the unification of Karnataka or Ekikarana of Karnataka. So I really do not understand what is the purpose of this entire Savarkar Yatra and what is Savarkar's connection to Ganesh Chaturthi is something that I fail to understand.
No, the contention, ma'am, by people like Mr. Mohan Vishwa is that whenever Congress has been in power, you've never given pride of place to Savarkar. You've distorted history. You've made him into some kind of a villainous figure. What they are doing is correcting a historical wrong.
I'm sorry, Zakka, I don't know what you were talking to me because there's a little bit of audio problem.
Sure.
I reiterate my point. What is the connection to a religious festival like Ganesh Chaturthi and Mr. Savarkar? I think there is no logical explanation of the connection between the two of them. Zakka, if you're aware of this connection, please educate us.
Okay, let me ask Mohan Vishwa. I don't know what the connection is. Mohan Vishwa, what is the connection between Ganesh Chaturthi, Ganesh Utsava and Savarkar? Why are Hindu organizations insisting that every pandal in Karnataka should have a Savarkar image along with the idol of Lord Ganesh?
See, Zakka, probably she has to read the history properly. Mr. Savarkar was inspired by Balagangadharnath Tilak. He was the one who started the Ganesh festival in a, in a mass manner in 1893, just to consolidate all the people to fight against the British. So that is the basis for this. So Savarkar was admiring Balagangadharnath Tilak and he was taking the advice of Tilak. This is the history, or this is the connection between Mr. Savarkar and Ganesh.
Okay, Lavanya, you heard the connection, you heard the historic. Once again, you heard the historic connection. Now, please, that's why Hindu organizations are asking for Savarkar poster along with the Ganesh Utsav celebrations.
Yeah, they are asking. Okay,
Lavanya, yeah. No, one second. Let Lavanya respond. You made a point. She asked a question, you responded. Let her now respond. Yeah.
My question is, Mr. Savarkar is a political figure. And this is a religious festival, and they want to bring in Mr. Savarkar into the religious festival. Now, my question is, why isn't Alur Venkat Rao, who worked for the unification of Karnataka, not a figure for them to conduct a yatra on?
Okay. Anyway, no, there have been yatras for other non-Karnataka figures also, freedom fighters who've come from other states. But anyway, be that as it may, let me ask R.K. Upadhyay. I think what the people of Karnataka are baffled about is, we are in 2023. Why are we debating questions of 1923 in 2023? Are there not more pressing and more important issues for the electorate of Karnataka? You have to unmute, sir. You have to unmute, please. Thank you.
But when you are in election mode, so all these issues crop up. I think what BJP is trying to do is, the Congress is going after Savarkar for quite some time now, and they want to, bring out that issue in more focus. Of course, everybody knows Savarkar's contribution, and he was a multi-dimensional man. He was a writer, poet, politician, freedom fighter, and philosopher, and all that. But still, the Congress keeps harping on, oh, that man wrote to the British, seeking clemency when he was in jail. I mean, for God's sake, he spent 14 years in Kalapani being a freedom fighter. Even Nehru spent only 9 years in jail and not in Kalapani. So he was a freedom fighter who contributed a lot to the Indian freedom movement. And why sideline him?
Okay.
So now BJP is trying to tell the Congress that, look, here's a very hero of Hindu society whom we should project again. So that is what is icking them. I don't know why they cannot accept that Savarkar was also a freedom fighter who's worth adulation. Why demonize him? He has been demonized for the last five decades, as if he has been the greatest Hindu warrior, and then he is much hater of the Muslims. He has been projected as somebody who is against the minorities. But if you look at his writings, he was in favor of minorities. He said, look, minorities also should stay in India, but they will not have any special rights. Whereas you compare that with what Ambedkar wrote. Ambedkar, when he wrote about the partition in Pakistan, he said the Muslim community should be entirely transferred to Pakistan and the Hindus living there should come to India. And he was saying that, we Hindus and Muslims cannot live together.
Okay,
So
T.R. Prasad Gowda of the JDS. Sir, your party, okay, your party, Mr. Gowda, your party has not taken a definitive position on this. You heard from Kumaraswamy, the former Chief Minister, saying BJP is also doing this to polarize and vitiate the atmosphere. Congress is also pouring petrol on this issue because it suits them. Why is your party not taking a position on this issue? Why are you middle of the road on something as contentious as the legacy of Savarkar?
Beautiful question, very good question. At this point of our, we are not intent to take up these issues at all. Why? You may ask why. See, we are not against any procession. We are not against any celebrations of festival. We are not against any yatra or anything. But our state is facing many problems, where I wanted to ask BJP people who are running the government, will this yatra, our celebrations, will cut down the poverty line of our state? Will this feed the people? Will this yatra going to feed the people who are in hunger? What does it signifies? What does it signify? As you well asked one question, 1923, now it is 2023. 100 years back history, you are trying to repeat, but you are given the opportunity to run the government, when at the course of running the government, where you bring the state in order, lot of problems are happening, lot of killings are happening, law and order is nowhere, and developmental activity is totally stopped. Even their own cabinet people are making these statements just to avoid.
Okay.
One second, please listen. Just to avoid and just to stop, divert the people. Instead of why do you want to provoke the people on sentimental grounds?
Okay.
I wanted to ask them, why don't you concentrate on developmental activity?
Okay, let Mohan Mishra respond, and then I'll go to Arun Anand after that. Mohan Mishra, fair point I think that T.R. Prasad Gowda is making. I think about half the districts right now are under floods. Shouldn't that be the priority of the government? Law and order situation we've seen with the recent killings that happened in Shimoga. We've seen what happened across the coastal districts. And then, of course, there is the evergreen issue of corruption also. Aren't these the more pressing issues that matter to the people of Karnataka?
See, Zakka, our friend Mr. Prasad Gowda, probably, I don't know what he reads in the newspaper or what he sees in the TV, okay? There are a lot of developmental activities is happening. And, you raised a point about the flood. See, flood, in the case of flood, what did our government do? Mr. Basuraj Bommai, he constituted a village level, the Gram Panchayat level committee, please understand, to, to estimate the issues, and also the people who have who lost their home and all. immediately around 600 crores of compensation he released. Okay, so this is the kind of action we have taken. Then regarding law and order situation also, say during Congress government, there were 36 Hindu Karyakartas murdered. Okay, during our tenure, okay, I can't say that nobody has killed, nothing like that. Okay, we have brought the law and order into control. Please understand. Okay, so these are the things which we are doing. Please read the other side of it also. Why you want to read only one side of it and coming here and commenting?
Okay,
Come on,
Arun
Bangalore has
Anand,
the
Arun
highest
Anand,
foreign direct
the
investment.
point that the point that's
Bangalore
being
has the
asked. No, once
highest
again,
FDI.
Mr. Vishwa, one second. I'm going to Arun Anand. Arun Anand, the point is that at the end of the day, and it's not just a Karnataka phenomena. This is something that we're seeing across state elections, across different states. We've seen that in the recently concluded assembly elections also, that somehow elections that used to be fought on bread and butter issues are no longer being fought on bread and butter issues. It's being fought on historic issues. It's being fought on revisionist issues. Not that those issues are not important, or not that those issues do not matter. Of course they matter. But shouldn't that be through the course of regular governance as opposed to during campaign? Because in campaign, you want to take up issues that are, material to the people, that are affecting people's lives and their livelihoods. That unfortunately seems to have taken the back burner, not just in Karnataka, but like I said, in recent assembly elections as well. Has this become par for course, and is this something that political parties also have to live to this new reality or adjust to this new reality?
In India was always an emotive issue, and it's not only the bread and butter issue on which they were fought. There was always, other undercurrents. But these were not very much visible because of the lack of social media and because there was not so much sophistication of, what we call the information network. But now these are much more visible. But they were always emotive issues. Then the second thing is that, of course, over a period of last 3-4 decades, there has been a cultural renaissance in India. And some people call it basically the Hindutva, wave. Some people call it a cultural renaissance. Some people call it a rebuilding of the nation under different names. But there has been a paradigm shift, especially, I would say, the Shah Bano case was a defining moment. And after that, there has been a paradigm shift in the Indian politics. So now, whether we like it or not, but these are the issues which are going to be there as a part of the agenda of all the political parties. Some of them are peddling it openly, some of them are not peddling it so openly. Some of them are, giving salaries to the imams also, and as well as reciting Hanuman Chalisas also, as the Aam Aadmi Party is doing. Okay. Whereas some other parties, they have kept their stand very clear. Only one point which I want to make, Zakka, here is that when you are addressing a cultural issue or that is not competing with the governance issues, these are not two mutually exclusive things. So whether we should be contesting elections on only the cultural issues or whether it should be done through the governance issues. So I think these are not two mutually exclusive consequences. Rather, they complement each other.
Okay.
Especially a party like BJP.
Lavanya Ballal, the point is that even someone like Indira Gandhi, the former Prime Minister, had written that Savarkar was a brave son of India and that his contributions to the freedom struggle cannot be negated. So what is the Congress Party's problem in accepting that Savarkar was just as much a freedom fighter as anyone else was? Ma'am, you have to unmute, please. We can still not hear you, ma'am. All right, I think they'll reconnect you in a second, but let me put that to R.K. Upadhyay. Yeah.
Zakka, that's a problem with these people who are now talking about issues which are long overdue. I mean, for 50, 60 years, we haven't gone through what these people have written. And in fact, I think Savarkar is one of those who have written extensively. Apart from Gandhi, probably Savarkar is the one who has written very, very extensively on the freedom movement, on his thoughts about Hindus, Muslims, a whole host of issues. And in fact, Gandhi has also praised him. He said he's a patriot. In fact, in 1921, in Young India, Gandhi writes he's a patriot. Otherwise, but for the love of his country, he wouldn't have been Kalapani. So, but he's projected as someone who goaded Godse to kill him. So this is the kind of image that the Congress has built up over the last 50, 60 years, and this is what is revolts people who feel that justice is not being done to Savarkar. So Savarkar is not a big demon that people have to call him somebody who was a hated Muslim community, somebody who divided the country, somebody who wrote about the two-nation theory, and all the negative aspects are being projected, whereas he had a lot of positives as well. That is what I feel.
All right, if Lavanya Ballal is back, can you? All right, we'll try and connect back with her. But T.R. Prasad Gowda, I mean, shouldn't there be a debate? And ultimately, India is a democracy. It has to happen in the public domain. A debate on historical figures and whether the correct reading of history has happened. As R.K. Upadhyay was explaining, that as far as Savarkar is concerned, there's only been one view of Savarkar, a distorted view, a negative view of Savarkar that's been propagated over the last 50, 60 years. Mr. Gowda.
Yeah. Sir, if you are talking about Indira Gandhi was mentioned that a remarkable son of India. If BJP is taking that statement by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi statement, I would like to ask them, why don't you take up? She made so many other good statements also. We have to live together. There should not be no communal violence. Why are you not acknowledging those good statements of Indira Gandhi? Well, of course, she made Savarkar as a remarkable son of India. Okay, we will acknowledge it. Now they are fine. But at the same time, she made several other things about our biggest democracy. Ours is the biggest democracy in the world. We have to live together and we have to like together. And those concepts, why they are not trying to practice it?
All right, Lavanya is also back on the broadcast. Lavanya, respond to that. If Indira Gandhi can praise Savarkar, why does the Congress party have a problem with him?
I will reiterate my point once again, Zakka. Karnataka state is reeling under multiple problems. There is lack of law and order. We have seen how the Home Minister's house was attacked by their own party members. We have seen how their party members have been brutally murdered in Karnataka. We have seen the corruption charges. We have seen how floods are affecting our state. And the question is, how is Savarkar, on what parameter have you judged Savarkar to be a better freedom fighter than any freedom fighter from Karnataka? If you are talking about unification of Karnataka, if you are talking about a better Karnataka, why not people like Alu Venkat?
No, you made that point, ma'am. All I'm asking is, if Indira Gandhi can praise Savarkar, then why does Congress have this only negative view about Savarkar, pointing out only the flaws that you, as you perceive of him? Indira Gandhi is perhaps the biggest Congress leader you've had since independence. So why wouldn't her praise of him count?
Zakka, I will give you a response. In his book, he writes about how BJP. I'm so sorry. There was a little bit of a problem on my end. This is about how rape as a political tool. He writes about rape as a political tool, and I, as a woman, will never endorse a person who will propagate the idea of rape as a political tool. So for me, that person can never be an idol. I hope he's not an idol for many other women.
Okay, Mohan Mishra, I'll give you the final word. He was a controversial figure. You cannot exclude that whenever you talk about Savarkar. And the fact is that the Congress and other liberal historians, left historians, have always pointed to the fact that he wrote as many as 3 mercy pleas to the British to free himself from jail. None of the other freedom fighters had to take the crutches of a clemency plea.
So, Zakka, if Congress wants to call Savarkar as a coward, what do you want to call Mr. Nehru, who lost 36,000 square kilometers of land to China? What do you want to call Nehru, who said that if the Subhash Chandra Bose comes against British to fight through Indian National Army, he's going to be arrested? Then what do you want to call Nehru, who agreed for 4 points the division of India by same Muslim League in 1927? And what do you want to call Nehru, who was keeping quiet in 1946 when the same British government was up against Indian National Army personnel? What do you want to call them? When the entire world was going against building strength in the Indian Army, what did Nehru do in 1962? He reduced Indian Army personnel numbers by 50,000. What do you want to call him then? If Savarkar is a coward. So these are the questions which Congress should answer.
I got to wrap up. Lavanya, 30 seconds. I'm completely out of time. 30 seconds.
Is misinformation by Mr. Mohan Krishna, which they are very capable of. leader who has allowed China to build a village in India as a 56-inch chested prime minister. I think that is what we call them. 56-inch lal aankh dikhane wala prime minister. That is what we call them.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. We'll see whether the legacy of Savarkar, the historical questions that have been left unanswered by his legacy, whether that's going to be the dominant theme going into Karnataka 2023. Meanwhile, it's not just in Karnataka. Now we're getting a piece of breaking news. The ongoing liquor scam face-off between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. More breaking news on this. CNN News 18 has managed to access the exclusive details of the full CBI FIR against the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. As per this FIR, the excise policy was tweaked by the state government without the LG's approval. Sisodia also allegedly provided undue favors to some of the private license holders and individuals close to him. Now the CBI is probing the alleged illegal waivers as well as undue benefits extended via the excise policy. But Kejriwal and Sisodia, on their two-day tour of Gujarat, this is how he responded.
आपका ये जो बढ़ता हुआ जोश है, तेजी से बढ़ता हुआ जोश है, यही दिल्ली में मेरे ऊपर धीरे धीरे सीबीआई का शिकंजा कसवा रहा है। ये जो आपके अंदर का गुस्सा है, जो यहां आप इस बार वोट पे निकालने वाले हो, ये जो जोश भर के आप बैठे हो यहां पे, इसी जोश की वजह से दिल्ली में केंद्र में बैठी हुई सरकार को लग रहा है इस जोश को रोकने के लिए थोड़ा सा शिकंजा और टाइट करो, और टाइट करो, और टाइट करो। लेकिन मैं दिल्ली से आपके बीच सिर्फ ये कहने आया हूं, मेरी गर्दन की चिंता मत करना, मेरी गर्दन ईमानदारी की गर्दन है। ये सीबीआई के किसी शिकंजे में नहीं फंसने वाली है, ये मेरी जिम्मेदारी है। इस जोश को बनाए रखो, ये आपकी जिम्मेदारी है।
Meanwhile, amid the Liquorgate face-off, Delhi LG has written to Arvind Kejriwal saying that files are being sent without the Chief Minister's signature. The LG says procedure must be followed for smooth processing of files. Pallavi Ghosh has more details on this. Any particular reason why files are being sent without the Chief Minister's signature?
No defense has been given, but all along the Chief Minister has been maintaining that when I'm traveling, when I'm busy and preoccupied, it's not possible for me to micromanage the entire situation, and therefore I depute ministers or officers who actually sign those files. That's what the LG has objected to in that letter, Zakka. But what sources in LG's office are also telling us is the reason why the LG has raised objection, because they are apprehensive of the fact that tomorrow, should there be any problem with the decision which has been taken, the Chief Minister can always shirk off his responsibility by saying, I'm not to be held responsible because it was signed by either my minister or it was signed by one officer. In fact, specific instances of Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia have already been taken, that this was an escape route. What it also means really, Zakka, is that when it comes to the entire controversy over the excise policy, I think the pressure is also going to start mounting on the Delhi Chief Minister. He cannot get away by saying that I was not the person involved or concerned, and it was a decision solely taken by Manish Sisodia.
All right, where does the buck stop, at least as far as the political executive is concerned? In Delhi, it certainly stops with the Chief Minister. We'll see how this story plays out. I want to thank Pallavi Ghosh, and in a moment, Ridhima will be joining you with the biggest exclusive tonight.